So in today's session, we will discuss about web technologies. Okay, so this is a very basic. So as you know, this internship program is all about full stack web. So full stack web means it is a web technology. So I think some of you have already this subject in your curriculum probably. So few of the topics that I will discuss today, it may sound familiar to you, but it's overall a general concept how web is working. Okay, so I will go through those topics one by one. I will give a very brief description and just a summarized one that how things are working and what is the history and all. And later the course that I have given. So all of you have purchased the course. Have you got the access to the material? Okay, you got the access to the material, right? Because the course that whatever I have recommended, so it is not an affiliate link or anything like that. We have just recommended that course because whenever I'm giving training or some new person is coming to our company for internship, then also we are providing that material only to refer. uh, so yes, so this internship, the program that uh, I have designed. So okay, so before giving that details of that program, let me introduce myself. So myself, Abhishek Jana. So I'm co-founder and principal engineer at Geogo. So I have joined Geogo back in 2016, and so in this last 5 years, we are using and working technologies like React.js, Node.js, and primarily on Ruby on Rails. So in this course, we will focus on the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React.js. These are the basics. And if someone is interested, then maybe we will conduct another such session on Ruby on Rails also, because that is the backbone of our technology stack, whatever we are developing here in Geogo. So whatever happening, everything, every API that is communicating our servers and everything, so it's powered by Ruby on Rails. So we use Node.js, but if you do a comparison, so we use Ruby on Rails more extensively. Okay, so I have this internship program in mind for a few months. So I have been training many freshers and all. So what that mode of training was mostly they come to our office, then we do training, and they come to our office for say weekly 2 or 3 days. Then I gave them some assignments and then the same course material that I have given to you, so that they go through, and then they complete all the assignments, so that and then I review that, and then I take the decision whether that person will work in our company or not. Okay, so but this time we thought that why not, so as people cannot come to our offices, then why not make it online? So we have never thought that it would reach the hundreds of thousands of people, students, and they will come communicate with us, and they will show interest in this program. So first of all, thank to all of you that you have shown interest in this program, and congratulations to you that you have qualified it well. So yes, there are more than 1,000 tests that we have received, and apart from that, we have shortlisted you all 100. Okay, so as I think in that orientation session, Shubhajit has already mentioned that the top 10 that who will be there. So those top 10 students will be working on some live projects with Geogo, right? So are you excited for that, for the live project with Geogo?
Yes, we are.
Yes. So if someone is want to say something, then don't unmute yourself. It just let me know on the chat window, because that will create unnecessary chaos. Okay. So keep that thing in mind. Okay. Great. So to work with Geogo, so see, as you can see, so you have already bitten 900 students who has appeared for interview. Oh, sorry, they appeared for the test, and now you have 100. So from there we will take 10%. That means 10 top 10. So what will happen is that all of you are assigned to a group, right? So mostly all of the 6 group there are, and every group has, I think, 17 to 18 students, right? So first of all, I would like to say one thing. This is the internship program. Okay. So this is not a training program. Means we are not a training center. First of all, I would like to clarify this thing, because this is not like that I am holding this live session, but this session will be weekly once only. So I want this internship program to be self-driven. Means we will give you the course outline, we will give you assignments, but you are the one who can drive the course or drive this outline. Whatever you have all got the course outline, right? Or the session outline or the internship outline, right? You have got the outline, right? All of you, I'm asking you. Yes. Okay, so you got the outline. So you are the one, what I'm saying, you are the one who can drive this session. Otherwise it will not work. So I will take live sessions, and other coaches are there, they will review your assignments and all. But remember one thing, we will never come to you and tell you that why you have not submitted. You, whether you will submit it or not, that is up to your responsibility. It is completely your responsibility to submit your assignments on time, so and appearing for the assessment on time. So if you miss your assessment, for if there is an exam, then it is fine. Otherwise, if you do miss your exam and ask us that please increase the time of appearing the test, so that is not going to work. Okay. So this kind of casualty will not, I will not tolerate in this program. So this is going to be a very strict to 8 weeks program where we will learn a lot of things, and we have to maintain the discipline in this case. Okay. And next thing what I would like to talk about is about the scoring. Okay. So every assessment that we will give to you, so for that we will give you marks. Okay. And every assignment that we will give to you to do, say weekend assignments are there, and at the end there will be a final project or live project. So not live project, a final project which will be a clone of popular website like Netflix, YouTube and all. Okay, so for that also you will get score. So using those scores only we will define who is the top 10. Okay, then we will conduct, maybe we will select top 15, then from there we will take interviews and select top 10 from there, right? So what I am saying from the beginning, so you keep this thing in mind, that it is a self-driven course. So I am not going to force you here that you do this thing, do that thing. So this is not a training center. Okay, so we all have our 9 to 5 job, then we are busy in our schedule. Again, apart from that, we are the coaches, they have come to me that they said that yes, I will volunteer for this program. Okay, so they are taking time out of their working hours, and they are adding some extra time, then only they are working here as a coach. So they are here for you, to support you in case if you face any problem. So remember, always keep this thing in your mind. Okay. So next, so maybe last Sunday, no, I think Saturday I asked all of you a question, right? Which right? So many of you have said, some of you, very few have are using Linux, I have seen, and most of them are using Windows 10. So from which background you are, means from which stream? Is it computer science or is it electronics or whatever else? Computer science. Which background you are? So just let me know on the chat. So mostly you are from CSE, right? You're from CSE computer. I ISE. ISE. ISE is what? Instrumentation? Information science. Okay. Electronics, and so those who are from electronics and instrumentation, for them using Windows is fine, I acceptable. But people who are using who are coming from IT and CS, so for them I would recommend you that you switch to Linux this time. Because whenever you are going to a professional world, so say now you are in your college days, right? So maybe you are in your third year or in fourth year, and some of you are even in second year, I guess. So anyone here in the second year, is there anyone? Anyone here? No, no one. Okay. So mostly you are from third year and fourth year, right? So whenever you will graduate and come to our workspace or say any other workspace, so if you join any other company, so most of the work is happens on Linux, or you can, or some of the companies they work on Mac machines. Okay. So the reason is that whenever we are working on web technologies, our applications are going to be deployed in Linux systems only, right? So whenever you will write a program, say you have built a software, okay, or a web application. So that web application is going to be deployed in a server, right? Some sort of in at some location. So that server is running on Linux. So okay, so 95% of the servers are running on Linux. So in for that case, knowing Linux and using Linux day to day is very useful thing. That will means that will give an extra advantage for you. Okay, so for that is the reason I am saying all of you to switch to Linux. At least you install Linux in your system. So I will come to that part on later on. So you will install Linux in your system. Maybe you have a Windows. Okay, so you dual boot and install a Linux system and use that. Okay, so I will come to that part later. So which system to install and how you can do that. No, VirtualBox, you do not use virtual. Please do not use VirtualBox, because VirtualBox will create some problem. You will not get the root permission and all. So that kind of permission related issues will come in the future. So you always use, no, you always natively install Linux, any Linux distribution in your hard drive. So it can be Fedora, it can be Red Hat, it can be Ubuntu also, right? So do not use VirtualBox. At least if you want to use Linux, then use install in your hard drive. Okay. Next. Okay. So as I was talking about Linux, so Linux is running in these systems. So first one is, as I mentioned, that it is running in all servers, right? The cloud that you are working right now, say the Google servers, Facebook servers. So every server, single servers and supercomputers, they are running Linux. Okay. Whatever, if we are wearing a smartwatch, that is also running on Linux. So if you are riding a bullet train, that train is also controlled in that operating system is written in Linux, right? So every spaceship is there. Say NASA sends a spaceship, so the spaceship you or the ground team that they have, they are running Linux, right? And the every other applications like Instagram, Facebook, they are running on Linux servers. Okay. And then the stock market is running, or national stock exchanges or the Bombay stock exchanges, these exchanges are running on Linux. And so if you play game also, say online streaming games, that games are also running on Linux. Your car and all, your self-driving cars. Okay, so aeroplanes systems and the mobile phones, you know, right? Mobile phones runs on Linux, because whatever, if we are using Android based OS, so the Android OS is based on what? Android is based on what? Yes, so Android is also based on Linux, right? Yes. And nowadays, so have you seen the advertisement of Chromebook? Have you seen the advertisement of Chromebook recently? Yes. So Chromebook is what? It is nothing but it is a customized version of Linux, a Linux distribution that they have taken. Yes, the Chrome OS. You are correct. The Chrome OS is our distribution of Linux only, right? So as you can see, there are a lot of devices that are running on Linux. So why you can't use that? So you use Linux in your system and use it for some time, and then come back to me and give me feedback and say, hi Abhishek, you said that Linux is this and that, and this is, you will see the power of Linux once you start using it. Okay, so I will not talk about that more. I will go to the next slide. So this is a brief history that is written here. So in 1969, Dennis Ritchie, and this is a very popular name, Dennis Ritchie. Why is it popular? Any other reason why Dennis Ritchie is popular apart from Linux? Anyone knows? Yes, C, right? We all know the Dennis Ritchie is the, yes. So he has created C, right? Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson, they developed Unix at AT&T Bell Laboratories, and in 1970, the proprietary software dominated the software landscape. AT&T started to sell Unix commercially, and in 1980s, companies they started developing their own version of Unix. Okay, so these are like IBM AIX, SolarX, or SunOS, something like that. In 1980s, the open source software movement came, right? So anyone aware about open source software movement? What does it mean by open source? Okay, open source does not mean Linux. Free and open source software. Code is available to all. Yes. Okay, so there is more to it. Yes. So the ultimate goal was GNU. So anyone knows what is the full form of GNU? So do not Google it right now. So what is the full form of GNU? Don't Google it. If you know, then you can say. Yes. So GNU is not Unix. Yes, that is Ankit, you are correct. And you can see that GNU's full form even itself has GNU, right? So it is saying that GNU is not Unix. So it is not like that they will commercialize it. So later in 1991, Linus Torvalds, a Finnish computer science grad, so he implemented the first version of Linux kernel. Okay, so it was his final year project, college's final year project. So I cannot imagine that. So he has written operating system in his final year project, but that is actually the kernel, the base version of the kernel, and later it resulted Linux plus GNU. Okay, so that is how the Linux came into the picture. And then these are the popular Linux distributions. The first one is Red Hat. So anything else apart from Red Hat you have seen? This is a commercial Linux distribution intended for servers and workstations. Ubuntu. Okay, Fedora. Hmm. Okay, so when it comes to Linux, so there are two major family of Linux. Okay, two major family. Anyone knows what are the major families of Linux? Under that family, many distribution comes. One is that Fedora family, another is Debian family. Okay, so inside Fedora family, this RHEL, CentOS, and all those things, those distribution comes. And inside the Debian family, the Linux mean Ubuntu, okay, Debian OS, this OSs comes. Okay, so there are two, as I said, there are two Linux families. So one is that what I said, one is Fedora family, another is the Debian family. Okay, so Fedora is sponsored by Red Hat and is the foundation for the RHEL. As I said, RHEL is means the Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And Ubuntu, it comes from the Debian family, as I said, and very popular among the developers. So if you have any account, if you have ever tried any cloud computing or any hosting services like DigitalOcean or AWS, so there you will see. So you always have support, or maybe it will by default come with Ubuntu OS installed, Ubuntu's server version installed, right? These are the popular Linux distributions. There are hundreds of distributions for Linux. Have anyone used Raspberry Pi? Raspberry Pi, anyone used? Or have you ever you seen any less Raspberry Pi device working? Yes. So Which Linux distribution Raspberry Pi uses? Anyone knows which Linux distribution Raspberry Pi uses? They have created their own version of they have taken the Linux kernel, the core, and they have modified it and they have customized it and installed in the device. So you can see that small device even itself running a Linux OS. Okay. So these are few basic commands. So ps, pwd, ls is for, anyone knows what is if you are used to with Linux, then you'd be able to say that. What is ls? List all files, right? pwd, okay, so you know, right, everything. pwd, present working directory. Don't Google it and say it here, right? Don't Google it and answer it here. cd, we all know, right? Change directory. Yes. clear is clear is for, clear is for clearing the terminal. Cat is for, why cat command is used for? Yes, shows the content of a file. So if you have a file, so it will show the content. So just some of you are answering, and if some of you are not, if this is the first time you are seeing a Linux command, so don't worry. I will give you, there are few good videos on YouTube which will give you the and basic understanding how Linux works and how the basic commands, what are the basic commands. Okay, so if you are not getting this, do not worry. So I will give you the videos. I will post the link of those videos on our Discord channel. So always do one thing, that you install Discord in your mobile phone. So then you will get the proper notifications, right? So do not use the Discord from the web platform only. So if you are using it from mobile phone, or if you means if you install it there, then you will get the notification. So if I tag you, okay, so mostly I will do it like that, I tag everyone. So in that case you will get an instant notification that I have posted some update, because whenever I'm writing, maybe some of you are not answering that. So that in that sense, I'm thinking that all of you are not connecting with the Discord. Okay, so to make it more effective, you just install Discord in your mobile phone, right? Okay, so cp is command for, cp is very simple. Copy. mv is for, mv is for moving the file. mkdir is for creating, making directory. rm is for, rm is for not renaming, it's for removing. And ch own is a very, yes, changing ownership. So all of you knows probably these commands. Fine, great. So next next thing is about git. So the first thing you have to do, okay, so I will give you the to-do list at the end of this session, today's session. So the first thing first, you have to install a Linux distribution in your system. Okay, so if you need guidance, you can ask the questions on your Discord channel. So your coaches will be there, they will guide you to how to install a Linux distribution. And then the second thing is that after you have completed installation, you just explore the basic commands, how it is working, how to change, how to use the terminal, Linux terminal. Okay, so that is a absolutely powerful tool which you can use to feel the power. Okay, so this is the tool to the power. Okay, so the next thing that you have to install is git. So git is for what? Anyone knows? So I think some of you are already used to in git. Git is used for, yes, git is used for version control. So why only two? Okay, version control. Git is used for version control, right? What is version control? Means whenever you are writing your code and you want to share with others, in that case also git will work. And if you want to create versions of your code, say you don't, if you have completed writing one code and you want to save that file at that point, and say tomorrow you are again will start developing or start writing few other codes, and you do not want, and again you save the code, but you say in the tomorrow's version, there are some problem. Okay, so you want to roll back to today's version. So how that will work? Then only the version control comes in. So this is how Git manages everything. It is a version control system. So previously I have used SVN. So I don't know if anyone have used SVN or not. That is mostly is not in use in these days. But Git is the most popular one nowadays, and you have seen websites like GitHub or GitLab, Bitbucket is there. So these websites provide these sub services. Okay, so that means you can upload your, if you have a Git repository in your system, you can upload those repositories to your account, so to your online account, and you can share with others. So after installing Linux, second task will be to install Git in your system. So after installing Git, you have to explore the basic commands of Git. So how to commit a file, how to add a new file, how to uh, push a file to the server, how to merge with another file, how to resolve a conflict. So these are the few basic operations that you need to learn in respective of Git. So in case of Git also, there are few very good videos are already available on YouTube. I will also post link to those videos. So you have two tasks till now. You write down in your paper that first thing you have to learn few basic commands, which I will give it to you. Second, you have to learn what are the commands for Git. Okay, so how you can use Git to version control, to manage versions of your code, whatever you are going to write. Okay, so you do one thing, you keep a note for this to-do list. Okay, so I will share one in the end, but maybe in the meantime I may add some more when I'm talking, so you can add those things there. Okay, so I will share a link to those videos later on after this class overs. Okay, next now we will come to our main topic, which is web technology. So what is web technology? So technology that is working around web, right? That is only web technology. So this is very simple, right? This is not very simple. This is the definition of web technology. So you can see there's a very long textbook definition. Web technology is referred to this, that. Oh my God. Refers to the way computers, devices communicate with each other and number of protocols, HTTP, SMTP, FTP, IRC, IM, Telnet, P2P. It's communication across web. So everything is written there. You can read it from here. So what is web in web tech in simple term? This is the textbook definition that is written here. So I have picked up from Wiki. Okay. So what is that? What is the definition of in simple terms of web tech? What is the simple term of web tech? I have a mobile phone here. I want to access a website. I will go to Chrome browser, right? So from there, I will hit a URL, and the response, the web page will come to my mobile phone, right? So how that whole process is working, that is web tech only. That is web tech. Every protocol is involved in, like HTTP, SMTP, or FTP in some cases. Okay, and the devices means my mobile device and the servers that are running on, it can be running on AWS, it can be running on some other cloud providers like DigitalOcean or Heroku, wherever it is running. Just a minute. Wherever it is running, so it will be served from there. So the whole communication, whatever is happening, is web tech in simple terms. Okay, got it? Any confusion here? What is web tech? Any confusion? This is simple terms, and if you want to go to by the textbook definition, it is given here. Any confusion? What is web tech? Okay, It may not be clear. It may not be clear for some of you. So I will clarify more on the next slide. And this is a important, it is not so important timeline is given here. Okay, so but it is better to always know the history, because we should not forget our ancestors. Okay, so in 1965, first ever WAN is established. In 1969, the first ever internet message is sent. In between these 1970s and 76, the rise of LAN or local area network, it came to picture. And then this is the very important thing, 1983, when the domain name system is born. So what is the domain name system? Anyone knows what is domain name system? Or if you are CS student, you should know, right? This is a computer science networking. In networking, you have already learned it, right? Yes. So what is the DNS? DNS means the domain name system. What is DNS? DNS means it's nothing but a registry, or it can, you can say it's a contact book, right? Where two things are written. What is the domain name and what is the IP address? Say the domain name is google.com and the IP address is 10.10.10.25. Okay, that is the address book where every domain name and its IP address is written, right? Where a domain name and its IP address is written. So let me share my screen, my terminal. I will show you quickly. Guys, let me know on the chat. Is the terminal visible? Yes, it is visible, right? So now let's say if I have to know what is the address book, in this address book, what is the IP address of google.com? So how I can do that? I can do ping to google.com. Okay. So as you can see, I'm getting one IP address, that is 142.250.196.78. Okay, so 192.250.196.78. So this is the IP address of google.com. Okay, that means in the address book, after google.com, this IP address is written. So the address book is called DNS, or you can say a domain name system, right? This is in simple terms I'm saying. So next, okay, so where we were at, uh, just a minute again. Let me change my share. Yes, okay. The slide is visible to all of you. The slide is visible, guys. Yes. Okay. So where we were in the year 1983, when the DNS was born, means address book was created. When that means the domain names have their specific IP addresses. Okay. So in 1987, Cisco ships its first router. Okay, so everyone have router in our home, right? So, and it was created in 1987. So it may not look like the one that we have right now. That's a miniature version like this one. It may be a size of a room, a router. Okay, so in 1989, so worldstd.com becomes the first commercial provider for dial-up access. So if you know dial-up access, then it is fine. But if you don't know, for those, if you don't know, so dial-up connection was used to be one type of internet connectivity that we used to use. So I have used dial-up connection previously in my college days to connect to internet. So that was a very painful time to get access to the internet. Okay. So in 1990s, the Tim Berners-Lee it invents HTML, right? This is the very important milestone when HTML comes into the picture. What HTML does, right? What HTML does? Why HTML is important? Yes, Ronit, you are right. It is the skeleton of our website, right? So without HTML, our website will look nothing. Means we cannot structure our web page. So the browser understands HTML. Okay, so first the browser understands HTML, and I was seeing a funny meme on LinkedIn few days back, maybe 2 3 days back, that in 1990s Tim Berners-Lee did invented HTML, and then after probably in 1993 or 94 CSS came into picture, right? So someone written in comment that that means that HTML, sorry, the web pages lived without skin for without any cloth. It was naked for almost 4 years. Okay, and then someone wrote in the again on the comment that JavaScript came in the year 1996. So they wrote that then it was not only living without clothes, it was with brain, without brain, it was living for these 6 7 years. So it was a very funny meme that I was saying. Okay, so then in the year 1991, the World Wide Web, or WWW, that we all see today, it goes mainstream. And in 2001, as you know, 4 to 5 billion internet users are there around the globe. So the number can be more. I do not have the accurate number, but this is how it seems looks like right now. Okay, so this is a very technical transformation of web. So right now we are in web 3.0. So what was there in web 1.0? It was the time in between 1996 and 2004. Okay, so it's mostly the readable. Only we can perform readable operations through web, means we can we can only use wiki type of website, something like that. Okay, so the type of data was very flat, and the interaction was static, right? What is static and dynamic? We'll come to that part. And communication is only one directional. Only the server gives the response. So there is no way to collect input from the users. So the communication was one directional, like a personal website, or we can say, yeah, wiki is another example, right? We go to wiki or Wikipedia to read some stuff, and there is no interaction. There is no scope of interaction there. Then Web 2.0 came in the year 2004 and to 2016. So it is a writable web, means we can read, write things, and then the data type uh, is interactive. It became interactive. The basic idea to connect people, means people can interact with web or the website. And yes, if the communication is bidirectional, like a blog, social media, and e-commerce. And from the year 2016 onwards, it is executable. Okay, data type is immersive. Basic data, basic idea is to connect knowledge. Interaction, it can be personalized or customized, as you can say. Multi-user virtual environment is there, is the communication protocol. And as you can see, the modern web applications that we are developing today are comes under Web 3.0. All right. So this is some definitions that are, again, it is there. So the internet, as we know, that is a massive network of networks that connects millions of computers, devices, mobile phones, smartwatches, my smart bulb, and everything there. Everything is connected via internet, right? Not this table lamp. Okay. So the World Wide Web is a system of interlinked hypertext documents and programs that can be accessed via the internet, primarily using HTTP. Okay, so what is HTTP? I will come to that part later. So there are some important terms of web tech. First is Website you all know, right? We visit website to check our college result. We have our college website or any other social media website. Then HTML is there. Hmm. HTML is stands for, anyone knows the full form of HTML? Anyone knows the full form of HTML? Hypertext markup language, right? You guys are sleeping or what? I'm not asking questions. No sleeping. Okay. Only listening and interacting here. Okay. Next is web server. Web server means whoever is, so we will understand this concept in simple terms. So whoever is serving our request, that is web server, right? So if you are making a request from our web browser, so whoever is responsible to send back that response is web server. Web browser, we all have our Chrome, Firefox, our Safari installed on our system. Those are web browsers. And some of you have UC browser or any other browser like Opera. Those things were there in ancient times. So these are also web browsers. Mobile browsers are there. URL is the full form of URL. What is the full form? Full form of URL. Anyone? All CS people. Uniform resource locator. Yes. Ankit, you are correct. Okay. Protocol. Give me example of a protocol. SMTP, HTTP, TCP, FTP. Great. How normally web works on which protocol? Normally web works on which protocol? HTTP, right? Okay. Then the IP internet protocol address or the IP address is there. We all know that every domain name is mapped with IP address that I have said. So this is not a networking class, so I will not go deeper into IP address. So HTTP is our protocol. XML is what is XML? XML's full form, extensible markup language. So nowadays XML is even became obsolete. What is coming now? Nowadays, which data format is getting used more in case of APIs? In case of APIs, not web pages. JSON, right? JSON is the format in for the 2021 or it after 2016. JSON has evolved a lot. Okay, so what is the full form of JSON? Anyone knows JSON's full form? It's JavaScript object notation. Okay, so what is that JavaScript object notation? Okay, so many of you are correct. So I will come to that part later, maybe in some other sessions. Yes, I will talk about JSON and API in one session. Okay, okay, great. So these are the common terms on web tech. So I will go to the next one. This is how the web works. So whenever you will go to a visit a website, you request means you are requesting for a resource. Say it's a mystore.com or you can say it's a flipkart.com. So you request a website. So internet adds first the request goes to the address book. The address book in this case is the DNS. DNS means the domain name system. So DNS has the IP address, the exact IP address of this domain name. So then the request goes to the server. The server processes the request and sends the response back to the browser. So once the response is back, you can see the contents pops up on the screen. Okay, so in this case, the clients can be typical devices that are connected to the internet, like our computer, web browser, or it can be our mobile phone, it can be our smartwatch, okay, or it can be our any other smart devices that are connected. Okay. And servers are computers, mostly powerful computers. They store those static. They can store static web pages, or they can even store complex logic, like which is written in PHP, or it can be written in Ruby. It can be written in Node.js. So that store those logic inside. It has access to the database. It communicates with the database, processes the request, sends the response back to the client machine, where on the user's web browser, where it is going to be displayed. Correct? So any question here in the screen is, if you have any question, then you can ask your question. No. Okay, great. This is a simple representation how web works. Now, what is the difference between static and dynamic pages? Okay, so static pages, example of static pages, example of static pages. Anyone can give example of static pages? Wiki is a very simple example of static pages, means where there are a lot of content is written. So you can only go there and read. There you cannot do any edit, anything change. No, edit option is there nowadays, but mostly people go there and read the text, whatever is written there. So this is the typical example of a static page. Okay, and another example, it can be your, say your resume. If you build your resume as a web page, so there is nothing to interact with. So your resume or your portfolio website or a single page for your CV, it can be a static page also. Okay, so dynamic page means whenever the content changes every time they are accessed, right? That means every time you come back to the website, you will see something new is happening. So every time you go to Facebook, open their news feed, you see something else, some new content is getting shown, is shown there, right? So dynamic web pages are typically written in scripting languages like PHP, Ruby, or this, it can be written in Java also, means a JSP, if you know J2E, and ASP.NET is also there to create pages, web pages, and it connects with the database, and it processes the data and then sends the response back to the browser. Okay, so one thing you have to remember, all the information returned is in HTML. So when a page gets to your browser, the browser can only, what it can do, it can translate the HTML and show you the response. So apart from HTML, there are a few other files that goes. One is CSS, another is the JavaScript file. Okay, so next. Web server, this is also an important component. As I said, web servers are the supercomputers. Okay, not the supercomputers. It can be your own server also, or your own system also can work as web server. But normally, whenever our applications will get deployed on cloud, so those applications are running in high-spec servers. So they processes those requests, and they perform all those CPU intensive, GPU intensive tasks, and then processes and sends back the response. Okay, so every computer, as is this point is very important, every computer on the internet that contains web, means have an internet connection, okay, can be used as a web server, can have a web server program. So can you give me an example of a web server? Anyone example of a web server? Sorry, a web server software I'm asking. No, not Drive. Not a web server software. No, XAMPP is not, Aquila XAMPP is not a web server software. I'm saying, sorry. So in this case, web server is not only that system, I'm saying the program. It's a program or a software. Yes, yours is correct. Is Apache is one web server. NGINX is another web server, if you can remember. Yes. Okay. Apache NGINX. These are all web servers. So this point is important. As I said, any computer can be turned into a web server by installing the server software. The server software is the Apache or NGINX, and connecting the machine to the internet. Okay. Next is the URL. URL is stands for, as I already some of you have already said, that URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. URL is a formatted text string used by web browsers, email clients, and other softwares to identify the network resource on the internet. This is a very simple thing that we all know, right? Web browser, we all have an address bar on our web, on our browser. There we go and type a URL, like say https colon double slash www dot google.com, something like that, or facebook.com. So that is a URL, right? So it is a formatted string. So the first part, so if I say the URL is okay, so these are three parts. The first part is the network protocol, right? Like we have http colon double slash, or it can be https, it can be ftp. The second part is the host name, means the where we write that google.com or something like that. And the third part is the resource location. So that means after google.com slash, I say I go to one URL, say www dot facebook.com. Then if I, after that, if I go after that, if I give slash profile, that means the profile is the name of the resource. Okay, so that is the third part. So first part is the protocol, second part is the domain name, third part is the resource. Resource, here the resource is profile, which I want to access. This is how URL looks like. As you can see, the special characters as well. These are the substrings and separated by special characters. So this is the sample. So protocol colon double slash host slash location. Right? Any question here on URL? Anyone? Any question here on URL? Okay, fine. No. Next is HTTP. HTTP stands for, as it is already written here, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So it is the language for the web. Why I'm saying that HTTP is a protocol used for communication between the different devices or web browsers and servers. So this is how the communication happens. When a web page is has a prefix, then your links, text, and pictures should work in your web browser. HTTP functions as a request response protocol in the client server communication computing model. So one thing, another important thing to understand is that whenever we are making a request from our web browser to our server, at that time, the server responds, the whatever response the server sends, it comes as a string. It comes as a serialized string. The browser takes the string, parses that. So because through HTTP we cannot pass anything other than string. So the string comes, and then the browser parses that string and shows the content there. Okay. Now we know the basic concepts of web. So what are the clients, what are the servers, and what are the protocols that are running, how URL looks like. Now the important part comes in. What is web development? Web development is just a term that is that we use normally, which involves all the tasks to build web applications. It can be as simple as your portfolio website or your CV or your online resume. It can be as simple as that, or it can be as simple as like e-commerce website like Flipkart. Or this is one of our applications. Screenshot is given here. So this is actually a bicycle sharing system. So we have developed this system for one of our client. So as you can see, this is the whole dynamic and complex things are going on here. Okay, so this is the dashboard for the system. So it can be as complex as that. So there are three major web development specializations. One is the front-end development, where we have basic components like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. These are the basic technologies. And nowadays we have React.js also here. So front-end development involves all the work required involved around the front end, means whatever users or end user sees mostly on the browser. So that part. So previously, without React or React-like framework or libraries, so we used to develop websites using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript only. So most of the cases we have a JavaScript library called jQuery to help us out. So nowadays we have modern libraries like React, or Vue, or Angular is there, which we use to make our front end more intelligent. So front end nowadays are becoming intelligent. So this is one development. This is front end development. Second is the backend development, means how the logic is going on, how we write the business logic, and everything that surrounds it, that surrounds the business logic. So technologies used here mostly Ruby on Rails, PHP, Java we can use, okay, or like Python also we can use. Like Django is a framework for in Python for the web development. We use databases like PostgreSQL, MySQL, and Redis. So, and the third kind of development specialization is the full stack development, means the one that we are focusing in this internship program, which involves all the front end and back end activities which we can perform and create a web page, right? Any question here in the screen? So, where you are interested? Front end development, back end development, and full stack development. Any what is your interest? Everyone, please let me know on the chat. What is your interest? Is it front end, back end, or full stack? Full stack, back end. Okay, back end. Okay, so I will note this thing, your interest, because without interest we cannot do anything. So if your heart is saying front end, then you write front end only. Because if you are doing this course of full stack, that does not mean you have to write full stack. Okay, if your heart is saying back end, then write back end. All of you guys, I want input from all of you. Don't sit and relax. Just answer. What do you want? Full stack? Yes. Full stack, back end, front end. Yes. Hmm? Hmm. Nice. Right? Okay, great. So I got your input from here, from the chat window. I will see. I will review it later on. Okay. So now we will talk about HTML. HTML means it provides the structure of the web page. As I said, it is a very basic skeleton, right? It's nothing but it's like a skeleton. Okay, that means we can write HTML code in a file that will give that will create a skeleton. There we can write HTML body, HTML uh, tables, paragraphs, then divs is there, images are there, links are there. So we create a skeleton by using HTML. So it provides a structure to the web page. Okay, so remember this thing. So I think if you have purchased that score or that course, or if you have got anywhere from anywhere, I don't know, you all have different methods to get access to the course content, right? So maybe you have downloaded from somewhere. So if you did that, then it is fine. That is totally up to you how you did that. And but if you have got access to the content, then you start with HTML. You start with basic. You note down this thing. You start with HTML head, HTML body, then paragraphs, list, forms, and what else is there? Images. Okay, that is what I can remember right now. Okay, so you start studying those things. So you can also study in that video itself, or you can go to W3 schools. From there also you can study. So I'm not going to take a detailed class on HTML, right? This is what you have to study. So I'm just giving a basic brief understanding of how things are working. Okay. So once our skeleton is ready, so the next we have to apply skin to it. For that we have CSS. So as you can see in the previous slide, our HTML page was only looking simple. Now we have added some style to it. Okay, so the CSS defines how our layout is going to look like. So this skeleton, by magic, it becomes Pikachu, right? So this is how CSS is magical. CSS is very magical. It can do magic. Okay, you can do magic using CSS, right? It's a very interesting thing that I personally I like to write CSS. So complex CSS are there. You can even perform animations using CSS. So this is a very beautiful stuff that you can learn, and most people they ignore it. They just use whatever copy paste from somewhere, paste it there, it is working fine, let it go. But you have to understand the key principles from everywhere in CSS, from the selectors to the colors to the backgrounds to the shadows, padding, margin. You should have symmetry. So understand whenever you are developing this web application. So you remember one thing, you consider yourself as an end user. Then only you will design a a proper looking website. Okay. Otherwise, your website will look like the background color is this, a funky color you have given, and in front end the text is not visible. So text background color and text color is almost that much similar, or it that much eye poppy that it looks it came from the year 2010, or came from year 2005. Okay. So don't do that. So you visit modern websites. We all visit modern websites, right? Okay. So don't design your websites like a government website. Okay. The government websites are all, we all know, right? These are all the very bad looking websites. Nowadays they are improving slowly. So they are also, maybe they are hiring some of the good CSS designers from somewhere. and and you do one thing, that a very powerful tool that our browser have, that is the inspect element tool. So you can always go to some good looking website, you can copy their CSS and paste it on your website. But whenever you are pasting, keep one thing in mind, that you have to understand, or you have to understand every single line of CSS written there. Otherwise it will not work. You will turn on and off every single feature, and you will try to figure out why it is not happening, why it is not happening. Okay, so even if you are copying from somewhere, then you just have to keep that thing in mind, right? So our skeleton is ready, our skin is given. Now let's add brain to it. So to add brain, we have JavaScript. We have JavaScript to add the brain. That means, say, our web application was there. So where I just wanted to print this result uh, from a printer. For that, so previously in our design was ready, but for the print function to work, we need JS. JS adds the brain to our web applications. Okay, so it allows our websites to think. Okay, it allows users to interact with our website. This is how important JavaScript is. And nowadays JavaScript are doing wonders. So all the modern front-end libraries are in JavaScript, like React.js, like AngularJS, like Vue.js. Everything's written in JavaScript, which means it allows a brain. Not only brain, now it is giving, nowadays they are giving computer, means superpower to the front end only. Nowadays they are saying every task you move forward to the front end. Backend, no task is required. Only business logic, you write business logic and pass all data to the front end. Front end will handle everything. Okay. So now if you have written front-end developer here, your task is getting, you are getting more tasks. So if you have written back-end developer, then you will sit and relax. You will do your job, pass your data to the front end, you will sit and relax, right? So as I said, JS adds some brain to our web applications. So if you have a print function, you can print the result. That is how the interactivity it brings. This is one diagram that how browser work, but I don't think it is appropriate for today's session. Maybe I will share the concept, maybe some other sessions. Okay, so there are a few key action items that I have listed here. Like first of all, you can note it down. You have to install a basic Linux distribution. Ubuntu is preferred one. In my case, I always prefer Ubuntu if you are starting new or starting fresh. So the all the what happens is that if Ubuntu has a very great community. So if you are facing any problem, in that case you will always get help for Ubuntu. Okay, so next you have to learn few basic Linux commands. For that I will share a video all with all of you, a link or to a YouTube video which you can use to learn basic commands. Then you start basic HTML from the course that you have purchased or downloaded, whatever from whatever you did. Okay, so you start with the basic HTML, start with basic CSS. You set up Git in your Linux system. Okay, of course you have to install any code editor. Like what is your favorite code editor? Is it Notepad or what? VS Code. Who writes in Notepad? VS Code. Nowadays, everyone is writing VS Code. Anyone else other than VS Code? Atom. Oh, first one got Atom. Okay. Sublime. Yes, I was used to use Sublime in 2015, 16 probably. Sublimes. Brackets. Yes, brackets also is a new one. Oh, Tanmay. Please, big round of applause for Tanmay. He is writing code in VIM, and I would say that VIM is the fastest one if you are writing code. So great job, Tanmay. Even I cannot do it, so you did it. So congratulations to you. Okay, so continue to do that. So more power to you. So VIM is great. Then Sublime. Anno is saying code sandbox. So what is that? I don't know. Code sandbox. Okay, so the next thing is that you have to set up Git in your Linux, and then you have to create one GitHub account. Yes, GitHub account is free. You can go there and upload multiple or unlimited repositories in your account. And yes, stay prepared for the next weekend assignment. This is what means the weekend assignment or assessment both are coming. So you do this thing, prepare your system and yourself, and then get ready and just work hard. So as I mentioned, I think not me, as Shubhajit has mentioned in the past orientation session that you have to give at least 2 hours for this internship. Okay, so there are a lot of tasks for this today, this week. So first you have to download and install a Linux distribution. You have to learn basic Linux commands. You have to learn install Git, learn basic Git commands, HTML, CSS. You have to learn create a GitHub account, and then you have to prepare for the. There is no different preparation is required for we can assign assessment. You just study this thing, your questions will come, or the assignment will come. All right, everyone. Any question here? So my internet connection is unstable, it is saying. Any question? This is repeat. The whole slide you want me to repeat? Or what? Or this slide only? It first one assignment will be there. One assignment will be there means say we will give him a design. So if you was you can say simply understand a simple assignment, but the assignment will be different for all of these groups. And one thing for your not copy paste one other assignment. There is no hard for your second. So do not this internship program. So do not copy from there. I'm lagging. Okay, let me switch my Wi-Fi. Hello, am I audible to all of you? Yes, yes. Okay, great. So I'm again. I will repeat. Again, I will repeat. Okay. So the assessment. Okay. So the assessment is going to be a something like we'll give you a screenshot, right? A screenshot of a web page or a web application, whatever it would be. It will be a very simple one. Okay, so every team will get us in different assignment. Okay, so you have to design that screenshot using HTML or CSS. This is a very basic task that you have to do perform. Okay, so by I think Friday we will give you that screenshot. So you take the time, Saturday and Sunday, you develop that thing, right? This is the assignment. This is the assignment, and assessment test will be there, where there will be MCQ test where you have to appear. There will be 20 questions you have to answer. That's all. This is a simple one that will happen on Scout. So there, if you sign, if you have already have account, so there you will get. Please repeat about the assignment again. You will get a screenshot. You have to design that using HTML and CSS. This is a simple assignment that we will give to all of you for every single team. Okay, and one thing that you should remember, that please do not copy each and your friend's assignment. Okay, and just this is for your sake only. This is for your learning only. So this is no, there is no money that you are paying, right? It is only the purchase that you have only purchased the course. So you do it yourself. Whatever, it may not look good, it may not perfect, but you at least do it yourself. Okay, right? Any other questions here? So probably we'll give it on Friday, and then you will get Saturday, Sunday. So maybe Thursday we'll try to share the screenshot. Then within, I think Saturday midnight, you complete it. Then you submit. Any other question, guys? Okay, so there is where we will submit the code. For that, I have said you have to create a GitHub account. You post your code, push your code to the GitHub account, and share the GitHub repository link in the in the your team's, or you can directly send it to your mentor. Not mentor, you can directly send it to your coach, and you can share the link of this repo in that. Okay, fine. Any other question, guys? Or this session is about to end? So, how was the session? Not good? Okay, great. Great. So this is the introduction session only. Okay, so we will learn more things later on future. Fine. Great. So great to see all of you joined. So okay, nice, great, amazing, great. So this is these responses from all of you is this is the thing which motivates me to create content and such stuff. And okay, great, Rishi. Okay, okay, great. Thank you everyone for joining. If you have any questions, then our Discord channels are always open. So you can ask the questions there. Your coaches are there. They will answer to your question. They will respond to you. Okay. If you have any question, then you drop there. Right? Okay. Thank you everyone. Bye. Okay. Bye.